The neon lights of Zix-9's underground market flickered dimly through the toxic purple fog. Krellfax moved silently through the crowded alien bazaar, his scaled skin blending with the shadows. The four-armed Drachnid assassin had built his reputation on perfect kills across 12 star systems. Today would mark his biggest contract yet. The information broker's shop sat wedged between a weapon dealer and a DNA modifier. Krellfax ducked under the low doorway, his secondary arms instinctively checking his hidden weapons. The shop's interior smelled of burnt circuitry and alien spices. "Ah, the famous Krellfax," wheezed old Zeb, his three eyes blinking rapidly. The blob-like alien shifted his mass toward a glowing data terminal. "Your new contract has created quite a buzz in certain circles." Krellfax said nothing, placing a credit chip on the counter. His reputation for silence was as famous as his kill record. 1,000,000 credits, old Zeb continued, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Highest bounty I've seen in 50 cycles. But there's something you should know about this target." The terminal projected a hologram of a human female. According to the data, her name was Sarah Chen, a scientist on some backwater planet called Earth. Krellfax's upper lip curled in disgust. He had killed beings from 100 different species, but never a human. They were so primitive. "The client wants it to look like an accident," old Zeb said, his gelatinous form quivering. "But listen carefully, Krellfax. Humans are different. Many assassins have failed." Krellfax slammed his main right hand on the counter, making the equipment rattle. He didn't need warnings about some soft-skinned prey from a primitive world. His secondary arms activated his personal computer, transferring the target data. "Your reputation means I must warn you," old Zeb persisted. "Humans have this quality. They're unpredictable. They survive things they shouldn't. They fight hardest when cornered. The guild has stories." The assassin turned to leave, but old Zeb's next words made him pause. 3 black scale assassins disappeared on Earth last cycle. Never heard from again. Their target? A human child. Krellfax's inner eyelids flickered, the only sign of his surprise. Black scales were elite hunters. Their disappearance was concerning. Back in his ship, Krellfax reviewed the contract details. The target worked at a research facility developing something called quantum technology. The client wanted her eliminated before some breakthrough. Simple enough. He began his pre-hunt ritual, checking his arsenal. Neurotoxin darts that could drop a Kranth beast. Plasma cutter disguised as jewelry. Nanobots programmed for untraceable elimination. Each weapon had earned him his perfect record. The ship's AI displayed images of Earth. Such a primitive world. No orbital defenses, no energy shields, barely any space travel. Their technology was centuries behind galactic standards. How hard could it be to eliminate one of them? Still, old Zeb's warning echoed in his mind. Stories circulated in assassins' guilds about Earth. How humans had survived multiple invasion attempts. How they kept advancing despite their limitations. How they were expanding into space faster than expected. Krellfax shook off these thoughts. He had never failed a contract. He wouldn't start now. The ship's engines hummed to life as he plotted a course to Earth. 1,000,000 credits for eliminating a primitive scientist. This would be his easiest job yet. The stars streaked past his viewport as the ship entered hyperspace. In the darkness of space, Krellfax didn't hear the old information broker's final whispered warning. "Run, assassin, before you learn why humans are the most dangerous prey in the galaxy." Krellfax stood in front of his mirror, adjusting his human disguise. The biosuit felt uncomfortably tight around his 4 arms, but the holographic technology made him look like a perfect human businessman. According to his research, he had chosen an appearance the humans called professional and trustworthy. The Earth city of Singapore buzzed with activity below his hotel window. His target, Sarah Chen, worked at the Quantum Research Center just 3 blocks away. 5 days of surveillance had taught him something unexpected. Humans were annoyingly social creatures. Sarah never walked alone. Sometimes colleagues accompanied her. Other times, random humans would join her at eating establishments they called cafes. His first simple plan to eliminate her during her morning walk had failed when a street cleaner stopped to warn her about a wet floor. Krellfax checked his weapons for the 10th time. Today's plan was perfect. He had scheduled a meeting with Sarah as Mr. James Smith, a potential investor in quantum technology. The nanobots hidden in his fake business cards would enter her bloodstream through skin contact. Death would appear natural, happening hours later. He walked into the research center, noting the primitive security measures, just cameras and card readers, nothing like the neural scanners and DNA gates common in advanced worlds. This would be easy. The reception area smelled of something humans called coffee. Sarah Chen walked in, and Krellfax's confidence wavered slightly. Her file hadn't mentioned her military posture or the way her eyes automatically scanned the room, behaviors he recognized from veteran warriors. "Mr. Smith," Sarah extended her hand. "Thank you for your interest in our project." Krellfax reached for her hand with his primary right arm, business card ready. Suddenly, a security guard approached. "Dr. Chen, your military buddy is here. Says it's urgent." A tall human male in combat uniform entered the lobby. Sarah's face lit up with recognition. "Tom, I didn't know you were back from deployment." The assassin's inner eyelids flickered beneath his disguise. Military connection. Another detail missing from his intel. "Sorry, Mr. Smith." Sarah turned back. "Could we reschedule? This is my old squad leader." The business card remained unused in his hand. Another failed attempt. Back in his hotel room, Krellfax fought the urge to destroy something. His research expanded. Sarah Chen, former military engineer, combat experience, regular contact with active military personnel. Why hadn't the client included this information? His computer displayed her daily schedule. The quantum project was heavily guarded, not by advanced technology, but by unpredictable human patterns. Scientists worked random late hours. Security guards changed shifts irregularly. Even the cleaning staff appeared at unexpected times. A message flashed on his screen. Another Assassin's Guild warning about Earth. Humans lack pattern. Humans break logic. Humans survive impossible scenarios. Krellfax dismissed it, but doubt crept in. His next attempt involved sabotaging her ground vehicle's steering system. It failed when she decided to walk instead, saying something about nice weather. The poison in her favorite food establishment failed when she suddenly changed her eating habits, mentioning trying to be healthy. Each failure was mathematically impossible. Humans shouldn't be able to accidentally avoid so many perfect traps. That night, watching Sarah through his scope, Krellfax noticed something else. She wasn't walking randomly anymore. Her eyes checked corners. She varied her route. She'd spotted his surveillance. The hunter felt an unfamiliar sensation. Concern. This simple target was proving anything but simple. For the first time in his career, Krellfax wondered if he should have heeded old Zeb's warning. In her apartment, Sarah Chen smiled at her computer screen, reviewing the security footage of the strange businessman who kept appearing near her. Time to show this alien assassin why humans were the galaxy's worst choice for targets. Krellfax knew something was wrong when he found the coffee cup on his hotel room desk. He never drank coffee. The cup wasn't there when he left. Someone had been in his room. His advanced scanner showed no signs of entry. The door's electronic lock recorded no openings. Yet somehow, on the cup's surface was a handwritten note. "Nice disguise. Let's talk." For the first time in his career, the hunter felt hunted. Security footage showed nothing unusual, just a hotel maid entering to clean. But Krellfax had specifically activated his "Do Not Disturb" sign. He reviewed the footage again. The maid's movements, they were too precise, too tactical. Sarah Chen was not just aware of him. She was playing with him. His computer chimed. 3 of his surveillance drones had gone offline. The fourth sent back images of children playing with what they thought was a cool toy they'd found in the park. Somehow, kids had knocked out his expensive spy network with nothing but water balloons and curiosity. Impossible, Krulfax muttered, his secondary arms twitching nervously. These were military-grade devices. They had survived war zones, yet human children had disabled them by accident. No, not by accident. He zoomed in on the footage. One of the kids wore a t-shirt with Sarah's research center logo. These were employees' children. She was using them as unwitting agents. A police car drove past his hotel for the third time. Local law enforcement shouldn't be able to detect his presence. His biosuit was perfect. Unless he checked his disguise's power readings. Someone had modified the hotel's electrical frequency, causing micro-flickers in his holographic field. To the human eye, he occasionally looked glitchy. Sarah Chen wasn't just fighting back. She was systematically dismantling his operation using the simplest tools available. His room phone rang. Against all training, he answered. You know, Sarah's voice was calm. Most assassins try to poison my coffee. But you studied my routine. Learned my habits. Smart. Too smart to be human. So I got curious. Krulfax remained silent, his inner eyelids rapidly blinking. Did your client tell you why they want me dead? She continued. Did they mention that my quantum research isn't just about energy? It's about detecting dimensional anomalies, like the ones your biosuit creates. The assassin's blood ran cold. His disguise wasn't failing. She had developed technology to see through it. Here's what happens next. Sarah said, my military friends are very interested in meeting you. 3 floors below, 2 above. The building's surrounded. But I'm giving you a chance. More than you gave me. Krulfax was already moving, his secondary arms grabbing emergency gear. But every escape route he planned was blocked. Simple obstacles, a broken elevator, a children's birthday party in the stairwell, a fire drill blocking the basement. Humans, random, chaotic humans everywhere. One more thing, Sarah added before hanging up. Those quantum signatures your ship gives off. My team's been tracking them. Might want to check on your ride. Krulfax's ship computer showed an alert. The spaceport's human maintenance crew had accidentally loaded his ship with the wrong fuel type. The entire engine would need replacing. He was trapped. On Earth. Among humans. Through his window, he saw Sarah Chen standing across the street. She smiled and waved, then spoke into her phone. Consider this a warning from humanity. Still want to try killing me? For the first time, Krulfax understood why Earth targets paid so highly, why assassins vanished here. Humans didn't just fight back. They turned the entire world into their weapon. And he was in their world now. Krulfax paced his new hideout, an abandoned storage unit on the outskirts of Singapore. 3 weeks had passed since his cover was blown. 3 weeks of failure. His perfect record was shattered, his reputation in ruins. His latest assassination attempt had been his sloppiest. In frustration, he'd tried using a long-range plasma rifle, primitive by his standards, but still advanced enough to vaporize a human. The shot had missed when a food delivery rider accidentally blocked his view, honking his horn at exactly the wrong moment. The assassin's secondary arms twitched as he replayed the security footage. Sarah Chen hadn't even flinched at the blast. Instead, she looked directly at his position and given him a mocking salute. His computer terminal beeped. A message from his client. Target must be eliminated within 48 hours. Payment doubled. Failure not acceptable. 2 million credits. The highest bounty ever offered. Krulfax now understood why. His inner eyelids blinked rapidly as he accessed the Quantum Research Center's security feed. What he saw made his scales bristle. Sarah wasn't hiding. She worked late in her lab, windows open, seemingly inviting an attack. It was obviously a trap. But with time running out, he had no choice. The assassin prepared his weapons, then froze. On his screen, Sarah was looking directly at the security camera. She held up a sign. Your biosuit's quantum signature is like a beacon. We can see you coming. Rage overwhelmed his training. He smashed the terminal with one of his forearms. As the screen cracked, her realization hit him. She wanted him angry, wanted him to make mistakes. A new message flashed on his backup device. Not from his client this time, but from the Assassin's Guild. Warning. Target Sarah Chen's quantum research breakthrough. Can detect dimensional shifts. All stealth tech compromised. Abort mission immediately. Too late. He'd already committed. His reputation demanded completion. That night, Krellfax approached the research center. No stealth tech, no disguise. Just weapons and rage. Security was suspiciously light. The doors were unlocked. Every instinct screamed trap, but he continued. He found Sarah alone in her lab, back turned, working on some device. I wondered when you'd try the direct approach, she said without turning. Your biosuit's quantum signature was fascinating. Helped us complete our research ahead of schedule. Krellfax raised his weapon. Research. Dimensional detection technology. Your client wanted me dead because we discovered how to track ships in hyperspace. But thanks to studying your stealth tech, we found something bigger. She turned, smiling. We can track assassins across dimensions now. The device on her desk hummed. Suddenly, Krellfax's skin burned. His natural chameleonic abilities, the biological cloaking all drachnids possessed, stopped working. That's why they really wanted me dead, Sarah continued. Not to stop the research, but to prevent us from discovering that some alien species have been hiding on Earth for centuries. Like your clients. The assassin's blood ran cold. The contract, the payment, the insistence on her death, it all made sense now. Your clients aren't just worried about humans advancing technologically, Sarah said. They're terrified we'll discover they've been here all along. Alarms blared. Security teams flooded in. Not regular guards, but heavily armed soldiers with devices similar to the one on Sarah's desk. Krellfax fired, but his weapon fizzled dead. The quantum field affected all dimensional technology, including his advanced weapons. As soldiers surrounded him, Sarah approached. Next time an assassin gets a human target, they'll remember, we're not just prey anymore. We're the hunters now. For the first time in his career, Krellfax felt fear. Not of capture, but of the realization that humans had surpassed everyone's expectations. They hadn't just survived his attempts, they used them to revolutionize galactic warfare. The interrogation room felt small to Krellfax, especially with his four arms bound by quantum field restraints. Through the one-way mirror, he watched Sarah Chen organizing files. She traded her lab coat for a military uniform, complete with commander's insignia. Let's talk about your client, Sarah said, entering the room. The Shadowkin, correct. Been hiding on Earth for what, 3 centuries? Krellfax's inner eyelids flickered in surprise. He'd never even known his client's species name. Your silence is fine, she continued, spreading photos across the table. We've already found 7 of their hidden bases. Turns out your stealth technology gave us exactly the signature we needed to track them. The photos showed alien structures, perfectly camouflaged within Earth's mountains and oceans. The assassin's scales paled. His failed mission hadn't just exposed him, it had compromised an entire hidden civilization. Sarah's phone buzzed. She smiled at the message. Another assassin just rejected a contract on a human target. That's the 15th this week. Funny how fast news travels in your circles. Messages flashed on a screen behind her. Krellfax recognized the encrypted channels of the Assassin's Guild. Earth targets now classified as maximum risk. Human elimination contracts no longer accepted. Warning. Humans have quantum detection capabilities. But here's what really interests me. Sarah leaned forward. Why did the Shadowkin want to stay hidden? What were they afraid we'd discover? A new alert lit up the room. Sarah's team had found something. On the screen, ancient star maps appeared, showing Earth's location. But these weren't alien maps. They were human ones, thousands of years old. We weren't supposed to remember, Sarah said softly. Humanity didn't evolve on Earth, did we? We were stranded here, made to forget our true origins. Krulfax's silence broke. How? Your biosuit's quantum field interacted with something in human DNA, triggered old memories, buried technologies. The Shadowkin didn't just hide from us. They've been keeping us isolated, primitive, forgotten. Outside the interrogation room, scientists worked on reverse-engineered versions of Krulfax's weapons, but they weren't copying them. They were improving them, combining alien tech with rapidly recovering human knowledge. Your failure didn't just expose them, Sarah continued. It woke us up. Every human your quantum tech exposed started remembering things. Ancient knowledge, advanced science we shouldn't know. The Shadowkin's greatest fear came true. We're remembering who we really are. Krulfax watched in horror as humans casually modified his advanced technology, treating it like children's toys. Their innovations weren't primitive attempts to copy. They were improvements based on centuries of suppressed knowledge. Here's your choice. Sarah placed a document before him. Help us track down every Shadowkin base, or we'll send you back to your guild as an example of why Earth contracts are suicide missions. The assassin's pride warred with his survival instinct. You're bluffing. Sarah pressed a button. A hologram appeared, showing Earth's orbital space. Dozens of hidden Shadowkin satellites became visible, already being dismantled by human ships that shouldn't exist. We built a space fleet in 3 weeks, using technology we suddenly remembered. Still think I'm bluffing. Through the window, Krulfax saw more humans arriving. Military personnel, scientists, all wearing devices that pulsed with quantum energy. Each one moved with the confidence of someone who'd remembered they were more than they seemed. The greatest trick the Shadowkin pulled, Sarah said, was making us forget we were once the most advanced species in the galaxy. Thanks for helping us remember. Krulfax looked at the document again. As he reached for the pen with one of his 4 arms, he realized the truth. He hadn't failed to kill a human scientist. He'd accidentally helped awaken a sleeping giant. And the galaxy would never be the same. The Shadowkin made their move at midnight. Black ships emerged from dimensional pockets around Earth, their forms shifting like liquid darkness. They had hidden among humans for centuries. Now, discovery meant war. Krulfax watched from his holding cell as Sarah Chen coordinated humanity's response. The quantum detection grid she developed using his biosuit's technology lit up with hundreds of Shadowkin signatures. They're attacking the research center first, Sarah announced, now fully dressed in advanced battle armor that looked centuries ahead of current Earth technology. They want to destroy the quantum grid before more humans remember. But the Shadowkin had miscalculated. They expected to face primitive human weapons. Instead, their first wave met recovered ancient human technology. Through the quantum-reinforced windows, Krulfax watched golden energy shields snap into place around Singapore. The shields weren't copies of alien tech. They were pure human design, remembered from their forgotten past. You knew they would attack, Krulfax said as Sarah checked her weapons. You wanted them to. She smiled. Every Shadowkin ship that attacks is another signature for us to track. By the end of today, we'll have located every single one of their bases in the galaxy. The building shook as Shadowkin forces breached the outer perimeter. Their warriors moved like living shadows, armed with what should have been superior technology. But they found humans waiting, armed with weapons that burned with remembered knowledge. Your client, Sarah said to Krulfax, told you I was just a scientist. They didn't mention I was also part of Earth's first awakened military unit. We've been remembering for months, preparing for this. Security feeds showed the battle unfolding. Shadowkin warriors, masters of stealth and assassination, found themselves outmaneuvered by humans moving with inherited muscle memory from ancient wars. The quantum field doesn't just let us see them, one of Sarah's scientists explained, typing rapidly at a console. It's accelerating our remembering. Every minute they fight us, More humans remember our true capabilities. Krellfax watched in awe as ordinary civilians joined the defense, instinctively operating advanced technology, as if they used it all their lives. The Shadowkin's worst nightmare was coming true. Humanity wasn't just remembering. They were remembering everything. A massive Shadowkin warship appeared above the research center, its weapons charging. Sarah didn't look concerned. Now, she commanded into her comm unit. The sky lit up. Hidden human defense platforms, buried under cities centuries ago, activated. Golden energy lanced upward, tearing through the Shadowkin's advanced shields like paper. "We built those platforms before we were stranded here," Sarah explained to Krellfax. "The Shadowkin couldn't remove them without revealing themselves, so they just made us forget they existed. Bad decision." The Shadowkin forces began retreating, but it was too late. Each quantum signature was tracked, each dimensional pocket marked. Humanity didn't just remember their technology, they remembered how to hunt. Last chance. Sarah turned to Krellfax. "Help us finish this, and you'll be remembered as the catalyst who helped humanity reclaim their destiny. Refuse, and you'll be remembered as the assassin who made the biggest mistake in galactic history." Through the windows, more human ships rose from hidden bases, their designs unlike anything in the current galaxy. Not primitive copies of alien technology, but something older, something the galaxy had forgotten. As the last Shadowkin ships vanished into dimensional pockets, Sarah's global quantum grid pulsed. Got them. Every single hideout, every base, every ship. Krellfax looked at the galaxy map now filled with tracked Shadowkin locations, then at the humans confidently operating technology they'd only just remembered. He made his choice. The galaxy's greatest assassin was about to help humanity hunt down the species that had trapped them on Earth. The irony wasn't lost on him. He'd come to kill one human, and instead helped awaken an entire civilization. 1 year later, Krellfax stood before the Galactic Assassins Guild Council. His 4 arms were free now, but he no longer carried weapons. He didn't need to. His new role was far more important. Another Shadowkin base was eliminated yesterday, he announced to the assembled assassins. That makes 57. The humans are methodically hunting them down across every star system. The council chamber erupted in whispers. On the main screen, footage played of human ships emerging from dimensional jumps, their golden energy weapons making short work of Shadowkin defenses. The humans hadn't just remembered their ancient technology. They'd already started improving it. "And the quantum detection grid?" asked the guild master, their multiple eyes blinking nervously. "Spreading across the galaxy," Krellfax replied. "The humans are installing it everywhere they go. No species can hide from them now. But they're being selective in who they hunt." That was an understatement. In 1 year, humanity had gone from a primitive earthbound species to a major galactic power. But they only targeted the Shadowkin and those who had helped keep humanity trapped and forgotten. A junior assassin raised their appendage. "Is it true? About their origins?" Krellfax nodded. "They were the first builders. The species that originally created dimensional travel, quantum technology, even the basis for most of our modern weapons. The Shadowkin didn't just make them forget. They stole and copied their technology, claiming it as their own." The chamber's screen showed scenes from Earth. Humans were rapidly rebuilding their civilization, incorporating their recovered memories with their recent innovations. The result was technology that made most galactic achievements look primitive. "Sarah Chen sends a message," Krellfax continued. A hologram appeared, showing the former target who had changed everything. She now commanded Earth's defense fleet. "The Assassins Guild has a choice," Sarah's hologram announced. "Continue accepting contracts on humans and be considered enemies of the first builders, or help us hunt down the last of the Shadowkin. We remember who our friends were, but we also remember those who helped keep us imprisoned." The guild master spoke first. "All contracts on human targets are permanently banned. Any assassin accepting such contracts will be excommunicated." Krellfax allowed himself a small smile. He'd learned that expression from humans, one of many things he'd picked up as humanity's official liaison to the Guild. One last thing, he added. Yesterday, humans discovered the first colony of their ancient civilization. There are others out there, other humans who were stranded and made to forget. Earth is awakening them all. The screen showed a distant planet where humans were helping their lost cousins remember. The quantum field spread, triggering more memories, awakening more forgotten knowledge. The galaxy is changing, Krellfax concluded. The first builders are returning. My advice: don't be on the wrong side of their revenge. As the council session ended, Krellfax received a message from Sarah. Another Shadowkin base detected. Want to help hunt them down? The galaxy's greatest assassin, now turned humanity's ally, sent his reply. On my way. Someone needs to warn them why targeting humans was their worst mistake. In Earth orbit, Sarah's flagship waited. A year ago, he'd come to Earth to eliminate a simple target. Instead, he'd helped awaken an ancient power. Now, as humanity spread across the stars, reclaiming their forgotten legacy, Krellfax had found a new purpose, making sure the galaxy never forgot again. The warning had spread. Never target humans. They weren't just another species. They were the ones who had built the foundations of galactic civilization. And now, they were back to reclaim their place among the stars. The hunt wasn't over. It was just beginning.